Hello. Sorry for the low res camera. This stream is gonna be public just because it's Pico's birthday. So, okay, just make sure you can hear me and such, and such and such and such. Welcome if you do wander in here, but if not, I'm just gonna leave this public. It's not high res, because I'm in fact filming off of Potato. Logitech Potato. I know what camera I want to get next though, but I just haven't, you know, purchased it. And this camera doesn't refocus at all, so you're just gonna have to. That little blob is remotely Python-like, right? Right. Alright, give me 1 second. So, you see in front of you one Pico resting currently. And, we have another Pico with us, and a very unhappy Cloud Tamagotchi. Yeah, I swear that thing was fine a minute ago. This is why I have trouble with Digimon. I guess I shouldn't complain that the VB doesn't have any care mechanics, because I would probably still be terrible at it. But that's okay. So this is Monster Clay. And this is the medium. So I need to do a few things to it. I need to warm it up, basically. So I have a heat gun here. And, I'm gonna turn off my mic whenever I need to heat up some clay, because, it's a lot quieter than a hairdryer, but it's pretty loud. So, I'm gonna soften up this clay. I'm gonna soften up a bit of clay, actually. And, we have a couple things we need to do today. We need to make his neck rough, his body rough, which means just rolling out some clay, pretty much. And, we're gonna fix his neck. And then other than that, we need to just, get the rough on there nice and smooth. So I might actually opt for making it thicker, because the last one that I made, what I did drop on the floor, it shattered, which to me says it's not thick enough to where it's acting like clay anymore. It's shattered like a piece of glass. Like, if I dropped this guy, he would just dent, you know? Because he's a big hunk for the most part. He's a big hunk, Pico. What a nerdling. Anyway, sorry, I just started smoothing. I have actually got this chemical for melting the surface of the clay for full-on perfection smoothing. So I may actually remove his eye. I think I'm gonna do that first. I was thinking about that should probably be like a final detail that I do, I would think. So you can't even see what I'm doing. Very apologies. So unprofessional. So yeah, if anybody wanders on, that's really cool. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be working quietly for the most time. When I have the mic on, I'll try to remember to talk, but I will actually be rather concentrating. So this will be a lot nicer when, of course, I have a camera which has, you know, actually some some settings, and you know what I mean? Like, this is not a particularly good camera. I'm gonna try and tilt this up just a bit more so I can work in a more comfortable spot here. And I will just move my the crew down a bit. I have another couple of photos I want to take of the things I've been up to, so I will be posting those after this stream. I didn't mean to stay up until 10 again, but I keep getting kind of a late start. So, that's a shame. Actually, I'm gonna put this guy out of harm's way, and then we're gonna warm up all this clay. So I'm gonna turn off my mic for a second here. Right now it's nice and soft. Nice and soft. So, this feels like Walmart plasticine at this point. If you ever play with Walmart plasticine, it's too soft. But this is actually also stretchy, so that's the other condition that makes it, like, acceptable, pretty much, according to Inky's needs. So, what we're gonna do, actually, is we're gonna melt the end of this, and the end of this little nodule I'm making here and not putting on the camera. And we're gonna stick it on the body, and we're gonna get the end of this neck a little warm too, but not too warm. So here comes the heat gun again. I don't think that's how Pico's supposed to look. Ah, his legs got all squishy on me. I'm just pulling his legs out of it. So his legs have got little wires in them. The same as, I think his arms have got metal wires in them too, but I don't remember now. Now everything's gone kind of soft on me. So this is where it gets a little tricky. And I, sort of flashed his arms a little bit too much. Let's see now. That looks like a good tool. This should heal the seam a lot better. And all I'm doing is I'm just taking this soft silicone, almost like a brush, and just kind of rolling it over the neck, in case anybody was interested in some techniques. A lot of it you just kind of feel with the tools you have, and you just feel the end of your fingers. So, even if you don't feel the end of your fingers good, you just kind of, you feel the pressure of your hand, and you learn to touch things very lightly, very gently. Handle with care. Picos are delicate. How many people have a Digimon named Pico, do you think? I bet it's a lot. I think Pico's probably a very common name for a Digimon. Common because it just means little, so any Digimon, if you're like Japanese, you could call little, you know, because they're just cute and little when they start out. Like any of them, really. Even if you're not particularly familiar with Pico Devimon, you know what I mean? Let's see. It's starting to firm up already, which is really great. It's a little chilly in here, but not particularly. Maybe I have the stiff, because the arms still feel kind of soft. I wonder. Maybe I mixed two things that should not have been mixed. That's entirely possible. So we're going to cut off just a little bit of this neck, because we actually do want the neck to be a little longer than it actually should, so then we have more wiggle room to do the ruffs. Because the problem I was having before was I was trying to make the things like less than that wide, so very, I don't really have like a coin or anything by me. There's a playing card, which I always have nearby. Don't ask why. It's a 7 of hearts, apparently. Is that your card? Anyway. So there's the edge of a really cool card back. Forget the name of this one. You know, I briefly thought about collecting cards, this kind of card, because I quite like card games. Any kind of card game. Digimon, Pokemon, Blackjack, doesn't matter. Inky doesn't gamble. Because if Inky did gamble, they would gamble. So Inky does not gamble. So there you go, you have to know your weaknesses. That's, you know. maybe half the size of a D20. So a D20 is like what? I don't think it's 12 millimeters. It's bigger than that. But anyway, if we said 6 millimeters, you know, it's a little thing. But it's actually quite big on the model. So, you see, so this was how big we was like, it's pretty much as small as I could consistently keep the accordion bends on the rough. And I'll show you what I mean by accordion bends when we go to make the, collar. Sorry, Inky's very tired today. Very tired. Keeps staying up late. It's my legs. I always sit cross-legged in case you weren't aware of the fact that Inky strictly sits on the ground. Pretty strictly. I still have a, you still see my legs? Yeah. Don't want you to have to look at my gross legs. There we go. That's actually probably still a little bit too far forward. But this camera has a terrible stand. Like, I thought it was okay at first, but it's not the best. Alright. So there we go. We have the neck. We need to cut the top off now. Let me see if I can find something sharp in my bag of tricks. This thing's covered in wax. Somebody got wax on my object of sharptivity. You want to rate about see, I'm just measuring real quick, and basically all I'm doing is holding the doll up to where I think I want the head to be. Right about there. So we're gonna cut it a little above that point because the top is gonna kind of bubble. Because we're gonna hit it with our heat ray. Make some coffee like the blonde from Star Trek. So there you go. There you go. That's gonna come off. These arms are so squishy. Alright. I gotta turn on my heat ray. I don't know how well you can see that, but we got it hot, so we will just toast the top of the head now. And I actually squished him down a bit, so he's got a bit of a fat neck, so we gotta fix that. Not that we have to fix it, that was intentional overlap. So we would have a seam we could make. had the same problem as I had before, where his neck is soft. Because it's just such a small piece of clay compared to the rest of him, you know. But this is workable now. And maybe this is why sometimes you would use a hard, you know, it would be less likely to melt when near the, you know what I mean? Like this, the arms and shoulders and stuff, you probably can tell. It's gotten very liquidy, and that's why it's so shiny. If I worked him with my fingers, he would go dull again. Which is kind of what we want. Like, we want to, not, like that flash effect is how you get a nice glossy toy, which is ideal, but we're not at that stage yet. Like, that's a finishing stage kind of a thing. You actually would cast it in Castelline at that point, which is probably why it's called Castelline, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, everything I know because I watched The Craftsman, and he's real sharp. So if you're interested in learning about casting, resin, that kind of stuff, I would learn from him. Like, I will tell you some stuff, but I'm no expert. I'm more into the sculpting kind of a deal. You know what I mean? So I have a few ideas for things, but I can't quite tell you what yet. Because if you have a really, neat idea, it's not so much you have to hide it, because maybe somebody will take your idea or something like that. Like, I've always been of the attitude, you can steal whatever you want, because I can make it. I don't have to steal it, you know? So I don't even sign my artwork, really. And I've never had a problem. I guess my art's too weird. Which is fine. Which is fine by me, you know, less hassle. So, but there you go. So I'm gonna let the neck kind of cool off a little bit. Same with the arms and stuff. Everything's real soft. And we're gonna pop them for here. You know. So he has a minute to sort of readjust here. And get firm again. And we gotta get this head to sit how we want. Oops, and I got a tear in the arm already. But that's okay. The arms were really easy to do, incidentally. I just basically put a roll of clay in his armpit and rubbed it in. Make these arms kind of equivalent in emote. You know what I mean? Like, I want them to be fairly symmetrical for the base cast here. That dang foot. It's gone all soft. Not sure how that leg got flashed like that. Got so warm, I mean, you know. Okay, so next thing's next. We need to roll out this here clay. So we're gonna move this gray chunk over here. And in case you missed it, I'm using medium monster clay. At least I think it was all medium. I've got my soft here. I've got hard here, but hard is missing a chunk, so I wonder if I mixed a little hard in here, which would be a darn shame. Oh, here's a piece of an accordion. This is a piece of a rough. Go on like that. See? So there you go. And it's very thin. It's very thin. And actually, I think I had my measurement. Actually, it's even bigger than I thought it was, so. By a couple of centimeters. Millimeters, I mean. So yeah, we're gonna try and make this thicker and just kind of pinch the edges more, so we have more of a sharp point, but it won't be this thin, so it'll be more like this in terms of thickness of the tops. Anyway, I'll show you. It'll make sense. I gotta turn on the ray gun again. Didn't turn on the microphone. Dagnabbit. I was talking about how the reason why you don't tell somebody if you got like a project you're really passionate about, not because they'll steal it, because wouldn't matter if somebody stole my idea or any idea, anybody's idea, let's say. Because it comes down to the fact that not only can I make something, I don't have to steal it, but also my vision for a project is going to be different than your vision for a project. So even if we worked off the same script of whatever your idea is, it's everybody's approach is gonna look different. That's why when like in school you all had the same project, but nobody really ever made the exact same thing. So you're wrong again. That's not the reason why. Or well, it's the same reason actually. I'm not afraid of art thieves, idea thieves. In fact, I don't even sign my artwork, usually. But rather, because of anxiety reasons, you know? Like, even if you're not an anxious person, like the Inky is, if you put your idea out there, publicly, I mean, now you develop, with any luck, interest. And people will ask you, and they'll keep asking you. And you don't know what's going on in your personal life. You know what I mean? Like, you could be wading through pools of lava, in the depths of hell. And they'll be like, so how's the project going? You know what I mean? So it instills a sense of urgency in you that's not conducive to a creative mindset. So if you have something that you really want to make, I highly suggest that you keep it to yourself for the longest possible. You know what I mean? Have a backup hobby that's easier to do than like your piece de resistance. And put that out there. You know what I mean? Share that with the community. And even better, if the thing that you want to work on has something to do with that community, like my little project here. But I cannot tell you about it because I do not want to hate my own project. So, there you go. And that's something that I've made this mistake over and over and over again. I get excited and I want to tell somebody, I want to share the idea. And I've never been afraid of people stealing my ideas, because usually my ideas are pretty weird. So, or they're too, rogue to really steal, you know what I mean? Like, it won't even make sense unless you just see what I'm doing, you know? So, but then sometimes people respond, and they get very interested. And then there's a lot of pressure to put out content regardless of what's going on in real life. You know, I get stress from work or stress from family. And it becomes its own stressor. You gotta take care of it to keep people interested, and it's a whole thing. And the other thing is, if people don't take interest in it, it's gonna break your heart. You know what I mean? And that's what did me in with Nerdbirds, was I put a lot of effort and love and care and time into Nerdbirds. And there was pretty much 2 people interested, and of the people who backed, which is some 30 people on Kickstarter, about 2 people actually wandered into like the Discord and asked about it, asked about playing. Most barely had time to reply to even messages. I think a lot probably just backed for the art I offered with the game, because that's kind of a good deal. You get a character made for you, and you get, you know what I mean? So I don't know, maybe I did it to myself. I invited the wrong sort of collectors or something. But at any rate, it was crushing. And I just lost all energy for Nerdbirds, which is a shame, because I'm actually quite passionate about that project still. And I would like to return to it soon, because it was a very fun endeavor. It's very silly. It's about the future, when human race has gotten over itself and is actually mature enough to communicate with other life forms without being butt heads. And we're all one big happy space family until the space jerks show up, and they're horrible. They're horrible. I showed you some yesterday. Lord Diesel is one of the, I guess, bad guy aliens, and but they're ridiculous, because the whole thing is basically a snide sort of social commentary about, you know, the habitual natures people fall into, and the whole the game style of the game is about developing a character's personality more than you know, fight scenarios. There's not a lot of fighting. You can fight in the game, but mostly you dispute in the game, and you basically play a normal person. So I have a little video on how to, like, about the character sheets. Oh, it's such a terrible animation. I don't know if I can, gosh, my mouse sometimes, I have a Bluetooth mouse, and sometimes you gotta give it a whump if you want it to, obey your commands. So I'm going to YouTube. 1 second, please. Please hold. While my internet loads. I'll show you my Nerdbirds promo little video. Where is it? Where are you? I know I didn't delete you. It must be privated. Which is odd. Maybe I'll unprivate it because, yeah, I just felt really depressed and, like, ashamed that it didn't do any good. You know what I mean? It didn't do any kind of good. Even though I tried really hard. But, you know, you can't have an expectation of what success should look like. Because, it's not realistic. It takes time to get offended, I guess. But even so, it's not about that. It's about, like, what are you doing with your time? And I do be creative with my time, I've come to realize. More than I do hobbies, I guess you would say. Digimon is my hobby. Alright, this is one of Inky's creations. I don't think there's sound. Knitting, tries to make friends, word vomit. So this is a character sheet back here. And so you fill in traits based on these, like there's a couple primary ones you have to have. Your physical, what abilities that have to do with your body, abilities that have to do with your personality, abilities that have to do with other stuff like emotional, you know what I mean? So you were kind of like filling in details of a bio rather than choosing like attack moves. Has to introduce everyone, word vomit, tries to make friends, memorizing facts, knitting, collecting bread, that's a Nerdbird joke, meeting a gourmet pastry chef, being that guy at the party with the guitar playing Wonderwall, argues useless detail, bribes with food, blurts random facts, overly protective, easily confused, super cute, big poking, poker face, very poker face, persistent, wants everyone to be happy, turtle advocacy, I don't remember what that joke was, I'll have to ask my co-creator. Look at my beautiful artwork. Wait, I wanted to see the end of the character sheet there. He does a little hurrah because his character sheet is filled out. Asks personal questions. Baking. Watching conspiracy videos. Good grief, that didn't age well. That's dangerous now. Back then we could joke about that. Phew! When was this video? 2020? No way. This was right before. This might have been during COVID I made this. Or was it before it? I can't even remember now. It's all a blur. It's been a freaked out couple of years for everyone. Tells people what they want to hear. Whew, and he's missing F6, or I can't read it anyway. Argues useless details. Me too, fam. Okay. So he's going to his fight now. Okay, nerd, get out here and fight me. Lord Diesel. See, they're supposed to have longer faces. They're more simian looking. That's a terrible drawing of Diesel, though. But these things, he's like 10 feet tall. He's ridiculously huge, even for his species, which is quite large creatures. Uh-oh. Lord Diesel is, I gotta get that out of my face. Man, I was really freaked out a while ago. Apologies for, stress incarnate. Nobody wants that, including me. Anyway, turning, back on my, so I'll probably delete that video because I don't like it. Or I'll maybe hide it. But I'm not trying to hide from my mistakes anymore. Like, I keep, like, editing myself, and I've just edited myself out of existence. You know what I mean? Maybe not. Maybe Inky's just really freaked out. But at any rate, I'm freaking in to some clay. I think I might need to heat this up a bit. No, this is fine. This is fine. Insert meme here. So we're gonna make it still thin, but not nearly as thin, because we have a little bit more headroom, max headroom to be exact. I'm just kind of tweaking the tilt of his head here. His feeties I wanted to fix for sure. There, I think that's better. Is he standing real janky? No, he's not too janky at all. Alright, hang out there, Pico. I'll have your rough on in just a second. It's pretty silly. I keep forgetting to color his tutu red. And we have to put on coattails too, and I could probably take a cut of this and make it a coattail. I think that would probably be good. I don't really want to cool this off again, even though it's being a little bit tough to roll. Because there's sort of a point where it's really annoying to handle. You know. So we're just trying and make this nice and straight. And nice and smooth. So yeah, we'll take a cut of this and we'll make it into his coattails, because we definitely want coattails, because I really like the curly coattails. I had meant to animate that on that little birthday Pico yesterday, but I did not. So this is public, and it's gonna stay public. So I'm trying not to say anything too insane. I think he's want to do. But I will still make edits and stuff. You know what I mean? Of it, I mean. But I'm not gonna call a lot of attention to it. So if you happen to check my story, good for you, because you'll probably be one of the few people that know about this, other than Patreons anyway, which is all of 3 people. 4 people, excuse me. And I don't know if they want shoutouts or not, because they're Shy Squad. So, which is fine, because so am I. But yeah, as soon as I'm done, like, I'm gonna leave it up for the full extent of the story timeout, just to play fair, so people don't, you know, people have a minute or two to, excuse me, Pico, to find it if they want it, or if they want to. I don't know how exciting it is watching a game roguelike, but especially since how low res it is. I think it'd be different if I could actually zoom in and you could see, you know, what I was doing here in any detail. But that's coming along. I upgraded my microphone first. I think that microphone does work. My old one, it's a Snowball. And now I have, I don't know what it's called. It's a Movo, and it's actually just a nicer one. So I probably could have just not spent the money and gotten the other one to work, but this one's a little niftier. It's got a mute button right on the front, and it's got a gain control built right into it, so it's quite fancy. Fancy. So I think it was worth it. It wasn't too bad either. So I'll look at a camera next, as far as stuff Inky's got to upgrade. And as ever, I pay for this out of my my paycheck. So the Patreon money is being saved towards the ultimate secret project, of which Inky has only very slightly hinted at. So yeah, it's just being saved basically for now, and saved up towards a huge goal Inky has, huge goal, which we shall not speak of, because it is too what I said before. Like, the reason I have a Patreon is so I can privately post about the project I'm working on right now and have sort of a record of it that eventually will just go out. And, hopefully soon, actually. I kind of slowed down with the working on the project because of this. I just recently got the clay. I just posted about it on Instagram. The real clay. I've been trying to mix my own. It's terrible. It's really terrible. So it's worth, even though this is, like, it seems stupid to spend $30 on a bunch of clay. But it's Inky's birthday month as well as Pico's. So I'm getting some for my birthday. Yay! So that's something I didn't have to spend. Which is really nice. But anyway. Yeah, for the most part. And then, yeah, the big real reason, what, like, the paywall is about. Well, other than to discourage people from looking at it, obviously, is top secret stuff, because, suffice it to say, Inky's pretty eccentric. But it does have something to do with Digimon, is all I'm gonna say. So, there you go. Top secret project, and Inky's, endless efforts in clay. So yeah, I'm gonna finish this up, because I told Zipzune I would. So that's what we're gonna do, because Inky really tries to keep their word, even though they get really tired. And fall down a lot. But that's looking pretty good. We're just gonna peel it out of here now and like straighten this strip and then put it back in. And I have a bread cutter downstairs, but I don't seem to have it with me. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of like a card. Like that, you know. I might actually be able to cut with that card. Whoa. Maybe one of these times I'll hop on one of those, like, those sort of party game websites, you know? I'll have an open invite game to play Blackjack with Inky, if anybody wants to. Like I said, I don't gamble, but I like the games. They're very fun. And I didn't used to think they were fun, because I used to, like, only care trading cards, not care card decks. But actually, card decks are very beautiful, and they are much higher quality than trading cards, which you wouldn't think. And I think I talked about this in Instagram, but I doubt anybody read it, because it doesn't make sense unless you actually pick up a quality deck of cards. And there are very specific ones you want to get. Like this is Bicycle. It's the maker of this card. And a good card will have sort of a canvasy almost texture to it. And it makes it less slippery. And when you first get a deck of cards, it's like butter on butter. It's like and super slippery. So I used to really like dislike it, you know, because a cheap deck of cards just basically stays like that until it gets like dirty, really dirty and yucky. But you get a good deck of cards, and basically forget about all your EDC knives, everyday carry garbage. You know what I mean? Like your everyday carry will be a deck of cards, and if you have anxiety and are fidgety, and just shuffle you a deck of cards. Seriously, it's something else entirely. So actually, if I reach back behind me, I have a deck of cards. Let's see if Inky still knows how to shuffle, and we'll cut that in a minute. Bunch of boxes here on the floor. Here we go. Oh! I got a couple different kinds of cards, and I got a funny deck I'll show you too. That's a new deck. A brand new deck. Alright, let me get my ears back on and put them back together. I still have these cheap headphones. I actually have a really nice pair of headphones, but they're falling apart. And Inky isn't interested in spending money on a set of headphones right now. So here's a new deck of Bicycle. This is a really cool, like, anniversary set. They just have really nice artwork on them. Look at that. Look at that card back. Imagine if you get card backs like that for, like, a Digimon card game. Anyway, this is a brand new Bicycle air cushion deck. And there's the back. Sadly, they don't have the shine effect that this one does, which I really like the way these look. But anyway. Like, they're like butter. You see what I mean? It's like they're not even cards. It's crazy. They feel like more like, I don't know. Like, what is this smooth and buttery? And they have this gripping texture to them too. So they're nicer to touch than, you know, high color or high resolution color prints. So you don't really get detailed fronts on these, but the backs get really pretty, but still not quite as detailed as like an art card. Basically, a trading card is an art. It's a mini art print, you know, like you're buying an art collection when you collect cards, which I always thought was like really groovy, and that's why I kind of got into it. More for looking at than for competition. He's pretty bad at competition. And here's a deck of cards that I used to actually carry around with me every day. Imagine that. Let me see something. Oh, by the way, in case you want to know a little magic, here's some from Pico. See if you can read that. See if I can get my hands to go straight in front of the camera. How to play tarot using a standard card deck. There you go. There's Pico smelling some roses. So anyway, I used to go into like a magic shop and I'd do readings a bit, not just for my buddy, not for anybody else. So this deck is kind of worn in, and it's a little slower to move. Let's see. There was a trick too. think I shuffled something in there I didn't want to. Yes, I did. This deck's been worked in a little bit. Yeah, a bit. Now, if I tried to do that with the other deck, which I'm not going to do because I'm keeping that deck, because believe it or not, they're collectible. Look at the fronts on these. I really like the fronts and the backs on these. It's really cool. This would be what my card deck would look like in the digital world when you came over with your freaking nerdy pocket folder and wanted to card battle, and I'd say, have a seat. It's very relaxing to do that. Anyway, so if you get a new deck, you'll have cards flying everywhere. I think it used to be okay at a couple of card tricks, but not very. If you get good at that one, shooting the cards, you can't do that with a deck of Digimon cards because they're art cards, and if you shuffle them like this, they don't have the same flexibility. Like, besides actually wearing out the art, if you try and do that with a Digimon card, it would just have a crease in it. You see, there's no crease. These things don't crease. Why don't they make Digimon cards like this? Look, I can bend it as much as I want, and then I can just kind of flatten it out. And it's perfectly fine. You just stick it back into the deck. They don't crease. The faces don't really wear out. All I'm saying is, why does everything have to be so ridiculous? We know we have the technology of cards. Give us the technology. We want high quality cards. Anyway. So that's Air Cushion. Can't remember what these were, but this is actually a commemorative deck of cards from Tokyo, for the Tokyo rail line. So there you go. If you actually lived in Japan, you would, in Tokyo, you probably own a deck of these cards. And these are really terrible cards. These are horrendous. See how they're glossy? They don't have a texture. They are more like an art card. But they're really cute. So, what can I say? Yeah, I don't even really want to shuffle these because, oh my gosh, the Joker is amazing. I love these cards because, playing cards. Because the art's really nice and fun. Do I have these in order? I do have them in order, don't I? Be ashamed to shuffle them. I'm not even gonna shuffle them because they're gross to shuffle, and it'll destroy the card because these cheap ones they just get ruined after a while. They're also a lot stiffer. If I bent that, you can see. This is more like an art card. If I bent that, it would crease. So they just can't take the wear. They can't take the playtime. And it forces you to buy new cards, which is, I guess, probably the point. And that's why they won't ever give us Air Cushion. So that's my commemorative deck anyway. It's pretty neat. Get in there. And the next kind of card that would be insanely high-tech if we ever got real cards, like Digimon cards or something. This is the latest kind of trend. And it's 100% plastic cards. Look at that. Look how shiny that is. And at first I really hated them. But it's the same deal. The more you work them, the better they get to shuffle. And they're so flexible. And they don't ever bend. See? Ah, goodbye forever. I have the deck upside down. Goodness me. These are the cutest things ever. These are straight from Japan as well. I'll show you the box. Kamoji. Nothing in English. Kamoji, in case you didn't know, is the Japanese keyboard emojis. Really silly looking ones. These are much nicer to shuffle. In case you're wondering what I'm doing, by the way, you take the card so the back is facing the inside of your hand. Split the deck in half. Flip it down. Flip it up. Whoa, hey now. And bridge. That's a real basic shuffle. If you practice that, you won't look silly if you go to play card games with somebody who plays card games too much. Or so I'm told. But, Inky doesn't have anyone to play with. So yeah, maybe one of these days I will, host a game, some card games. And, you guys can all be better than me because I'm terrible at them, but I enjoy them. And I like collecting them. This is a real common waterproof plastic set. Waterproof is code for plastic. These are neat because they're see-through, which I just think is really genius. Let me show you the design, and then we'll move on. So there's the fronts. Notice how they're see-through, which is amazing. And then it's just solid on the back. Great design. I really, really like these cards. They're just brilliant. I think the whole... Whoa, Pico. Relax. The selling point of those is that you can take them in a pool or something and they just like kind of look like the top of the water. But they have your cards. You just slap down your cards in a pool. That sounds like a blast to me. Just a blast. Maybe someday. Oh, this is on the back of a Digimon card. Look at that. Forgot I did that. So that's in my my Digimon digital deck. Not super even here. So let's do some rolling out a bit here. The reason I had it in saran wrap, actually, it's not really to roll it out. It doesn't really stick to the surface. You don't have to, like, that's a trick if you, you're making, like, you're making, dough. You got a real sticky dough, like a real buttery pie crust. Put it in saran wrap. The dough, I mean. And then roll it out. Or, you know, you put a big square of saran wrap down and then you, put another piece on top. And now you roll. And it's not going to stick to anything. Because it won't stick to saran wrap. Nothing sticks to saran wrap. As the oldest man in the world has informed us. Man, I'm hungry. But it's like 10 o'clock. So I can't eat anything. I didn't really eat dinner. I've been trying to just kind of like eat less. Just as like a personal challenge, you know what I mean? Like I'm not a super snacky kind of person anyway. You know? Like, are you a snacky person? Do you just be like, I don't have anything going on, so I might as well have something going in. You know? Like I dig it. I think I used to be a snacky person, but I used to be very absorbed in the 90s diet, as was everyone in the 90s. And it's very addictive. Everything's, you know, loaded with sugar and loaded with artificial this and that. And You know, so it makes you like really cravey, really cravey. So if you're not aware of your sugar intake and your artificial stuff intake, check it out. You may want to think about your options. And if you're having a hard time letting go of sugar, it's not your fault at all. It's super, actually, like a low-grade narcotic. In case you didn't know, sugar is evil. And like salt and butter and stuff like that are, you know, butter isn't like grease, umami kind of flavors. Also addictive, but not like sugar. Sugar actually chemically changes your brain like a drug does. So it's a little messed up that it's in everything. So, but yeah, if you're really cravey, here's Inky's dietary tip of the day. We have one entirely too often, probably, but apple cider vinegar. And this is gonna seem really weird, because why would anybody that wanted to live drink vinegar? Hear me out. First of all, apple cider vinegar is, it's not like your like clear distilled vinegar that you use to like clean the calcium off your sink, or you know what I mean, hard water stains. No, it's not the same as cleaning vinegar, super distilled vinegar. That stuff is like that stuff can strip rust off of like metal parts. It's pretty ridiculous. So it's really handy to have around, but you don't want to eat that. I'm not sure what it's for, really. Because it seems like eating is not the answer to that question. But apple cider vinegar with mother is what you want to look for. And basically what that means is it's a natural product made from introducing naturally occurring probiotics. Pico, please. Naturally occurring probiotics. You know, everybody's talking about probiotics, but what is that? Basically, it's a bacterial culture or something along those lines. I don't really remember super much, but it's living stuff. And we're full of living stuff. We're not just a damn thing. We are just chock full of life. But the diet that we've been eating has been dead for a very long time, at least in the West. Meaning it doesn't have these bacterias and stuff that we're supposed to be like exchanging with our body, you know? Like you're supposed to go out and eat an apple and you pick it off a tree, and it's not in a field that's super hyper sprayed down with pesticides and everything's dead on it. You know what I mean? It's supposed to have some bacteria, and you know what I mean? It seems counterintuitive, but there's such a thing as good bacteria, and there's such a thing as bad bacteria. And when you eat a really like a high sugar diet, it feeds a parasitic bacteria in your gut called Candida. You can look all this up. Candida. And Candida makes you cravey, and it makes you angry, and it makes you hungry all the time, and because that's Candida sending like false signals to your brain to go get sugar for it, because that's what it wants, so it can reproduce, basically, and become stronger and affect your mental stability even more. So there you go. You're not at all at fault if you eat too much sugar. You need to start eating apple cider vinegar with mother, because that will reintroduce enemies of Candida, which is other gut flora, into your body. And you can also drink kombuchas. You can make kombuchas yourself. You can make water kefir. That's extremely easy to do. If you've never done probiotics before, look up how to do water kefir. I'm looking for a sharp object. Have you seen one? Ah, I see one. Alright. So I'm just gonna make this straight, basically. Or a little straighter, anyway. Yeah, so you want to reintroduce some good gut flora into your body. And that will basically put the Candida in opposition. And eventually, if you keep eating apple cider vinegar, you'll outnumber the Candida, and that will, first of all, help you digest things better. Reduce cravings. It's supposed to do a bunch of other stuff for you, like I forget, but it can help you lose weight and all kinds of stuff. But I think a lot of that has to do with the not being so like stuck on sugar and unhealthy things, and digesting things a lot more thoroughly. So there you go. Try an apple cider vinegar. All you do is you put like a teaspoon or less in the bottom of a cup. Hey, holy cow! What's up? How's it doing? How's it going? How it doing? I gotta type a reply. Oh man, how's it happening on DeviantArt? I gave up on DeviantArt a long freaking time ago. This was, oh man. Once upon a time, when my currently making a thing, newspaper, paper towels, lots of glue. What are you making? Pleased to inform. This sounds spectacular. I think it's like a 10-second delay. Yeah, I had to look into why that is. But it is, which sucks. Because it's probably because it's YouTube and not Twitch. Like, Twitch is better set up for this kind of stuff. Tell me what you're making, though. I wish to know. Oh boy, I better just pay attention and not cut so much. I'm making a tiny clown, as you can probably see. Alright, I think this is what we're gonna want to have for thickosity. So I'm gonna cut this up like this here. I'm just kind of watching to see how long it takes before you hear my reply, because it's probably a while. I hope it's not too long though. I gotta make sure I reply. Mask! I love masks. Punk, it's getting a punk treatment as part of an early Halloween zombie walk idea. I love it! You got to share it to me, fam. Where are you at now if you're not on DeviantArt? Like, I'm on Instagram and I post a couple times a week. About Digimon, mostly. Which is what I'm making here, is a Digimon. Pipemon! I love it. I really want to make a mask. I'm gonna make a Piedmon. I don't have a Piedmon by me. Regular Piedmon. I'm gonna make his mask. I don't know if I'll ever, like, dress up on a stream. I'm a little self-conscious to anything more ridiculous looking than I already am. So, but I will happily make it. I'd love to make some really creepy masks. I'm getting into silicone pouring, by the way. So I definitely want to make some really yucky masks and get good at pouring. Oh yeah, that's gonna be how we want it right there. And let's see if any of this is salvageable. I think so. Is this how big we want it though? Maybe not. Oh, okay. Glow sticks, neon bracelets, spikes. It'll be wild. DA is still my hidey hole. DA is another option. Yeah, eventually I might come back to it. Because sometimes I think about, like, the critter games. I don't know of any other place that has, like, critter-based roleplays than DeviantArt. So, I want to make one on Instagram, but I don't know how people will... what they'll think of it, you know? Even though it seems like the prime place for that kind of stuff. And, yeah, I think I have an account on that side. I thought about posting my Digimon art, at, FA. Which is, a lot of talent there. But the forum drove me crazy. Facial spikes made out of foam, skin, and craft foam. How's craft foam treating you, fam? I think about that a lot. I think about puppets a lot, and I think about making like Jim Henson style puppets sometimes as like a personal challenge to myself. But I think it's made with like craft foam as the base, but I'm not super sure. Facial spikes are always good. Anyway. I really want to see this when you're done. I love seeing people's spooky stuff. I really want to make horror masks. Alright, here's where it gets tricky. We have that much room? Yeah, that much room. So we can't get any thicker than that right there. So, I'm gonna bend this up right here. I missed you though, fam. I miss Peaches. And I miss, actually, there's also you two that I miss. I don't think Peaches is on, I don't know if you know them. They did more of the, Steven Universe, but their own cool kind of comic inspired by it. They were really cool. So they weren't in the Crashy Kids. Sadly, I feel like everyone should be amidst the Crashy Kids. Had a weird heyday there, back in the 2000s with the Radical games. Craft foam is alright. If you want to make puffersy, you want PVC foam. Thanks for the hot tip, fam! I had no idea. Yeah, I think about it, and I think, like, I'm learning how to do silicone pouring, but it's very expensive, so it seems like it'd be a little wasteful to do more than, like a skin layer over foam for, more of the, 70s style, rubbery looking kind of creepy puppets, like, Giggle Snort Hotel, and, Sid and Marty Krofft. Like a Land of the Lost and stuff like that. But big goals, big goals. I think we're making this a little bit too wide. I think it'll still fit, but it's not a comfortable fit, so I might actually go back and smooth this out now. just a bit. It's not gonna be such a big deal, I don't think. But I have to give myself the room here. The CB stuff is actually 4+ year old backlog of fan art that was drawn because he had no clue. It was fun! It was so much fun. It just had such a weird popularity spike where there were actually people talking to each other for a very short point in reality. And I don't know how many people, oh, this is Monster Sculpt. And I just got these little sample packs. That you get 3 different flavors of chewiness for like $8, so it's kind of a really great deal. And this particular one I'm using is medium. And I think that's like their standard product, so it's really good all around. Yeah, but I miss the popularity of Crashy Bee back in the day. People actually, just strangers, would communicate with each other. And it was really weird. People don't really do that. There was a site I used to be on called Manga Revolution. It was the same way. You could just talk to anybody and they'd be like, oh, okay, we can be friends, that's cool. And people would just communicate. It was the weirdest thing. Really strange. But it shut down, of course, and then I moved to DeviantArt. And I met Crashy Bee friends. And then that fandom blew up. I've never been the same since. So have you played the new 3D ones? I mean, they've always been 3D, but the brand new remakes. What is your opinion on the Crashy Bee remakes and Crashy Bee 4? I haven't played 4 yet, but I have played the remakes of it. So what I wanna hear your honest opinion. Fan art is magic. Make your own stuff. Cricket noises ensue. These are mad facts over here. Real mad facts. I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, you really have to, like, pound away at your own thing if you want your own thing to be found. It's crazy. It's really crazy. At least with art. I wonder if it's different. I hope. I naively hope it's different for, like, animation. Never mind. Top secret. Jack nabbit! You heard nothing. I'm not supposed to be saying what I'm doing here. That's the problem. As far as anybody knows, I'm just making resin models of my character, Pico, the Piedmon. So we can't talk about the future project. But yes, agreed. And so I'm back doing fan art, I guess. But actually, I just have my Nerdbirds on hold at the moment. Because I had some life stuff go on, you know, as it will. So that's looking like a pretty good rough at the moment, and I should have enough to make the top and the bottom here. The reboot everything mentality needs to go away for a long time. Fresh ideas need to return. I haven't played the newer games, don't have PS4 or PS5. I wholeheartedly agree. I really miss the early 90s through the 90s to very early 2000s where, you know, PS2 was like the last really great system. There have been cool new games, but mostly they're very conformist. Really conformist. And it makes me sad. Like, I don't think I'm ever gonna buy another Pokemon game. And I love Digimon, but you know, Digimon is doing some really stupid stuff with really, really obnoxiously going along with what they think will make money rather than listening to what their fans actually tell them they will give them money for, which is outrageous to the point of being ridiculous and depressing.
And man, it is, or at least that the remakes are on Steam now, so I have got those. But you know, I started the game, and I kind of got turned off right away because the animation style looks just like it looks just like Skylander, which I like Skylanders, but my problem is the Skylander animation style looks just like Lumen Films, or Illuminati Films, whatever is the one that made Minions, right? And I don't want that in my life at all. I don't like Minions. I don't like the subtext of Minions. And I hate the animation style. It's way too fast for an old fart like me. We were bonkers in the 80s and the 90s. I loved it. Grim, gritty, better animation, better animatronic stuff, hairband music, tore up the radio stations, good boomer memories. Big facts. Oh man. Stuff was crazy back then. I was talking to a friend in Mexico, and you know, he was complimenting me on like knowing small things about Mexico, very small things, having tried some different Mexican food, and I was like, hells yeah, back in the 90s, we were very much into multiculturalism, sharing ideas, exploring new stuff, and it was good times. And so I have a Tamagotchi in front of me, you know, big time 90s vibe. They started remaking them, and they're okay, but so the community's coming back, and they're like, these younger people are really getting into 90s stuff, and I really dig it. But yeah, like it's hard to even grasp how cool the 80s and 90s were from, you know, looking at this retro reboot stuff. You know, like the point is lost when it's just, they're just doing it for the money, because people are like, oh, 90s are cool. Yeah, the 90s were cool, but what was cool about it was the openness and the freedom and the explorative, and like at least it didn't feel like it was all about money, but I mean, you know what I mean? It was a lot of people with messages about, you know, social equality and, you know, world interactions and worldwide networking and stuff like that. It was cool. Skylanders was more quality and less quality. Pokemon went that way after G1. Yeah, like I played Skylanders 2 a bunch. I didn't play 1 because for some reason 1 didn't have jumping in it, and I don't understand how in, you know, anything past 1985 can't have jumping in it as far as the game goes. That just boggles the mind. So I didn't play 1. I played 2. I wanted to play the one that had the Crash Bandicoot characters, but I just never really, like, I got sick of paying for the toys like everyone else. So I don't even know the character sets. I don't think they made one of Engine, so they should have. I would have played instantly if Engine was a toy option. Like, oh my gosh. Take my money, please. Engine is so cool. And yeah, Pokemon. G2 was cool. G3 was so-so. It was starting to get really gimmicky around G3, which was the one, like, Emerald, Ruby, Diamond. That, to me, was where it started to die. But Gen 2 was okay. It took some liberties with trying new story elements a little bit, but it was still just basically the same thing again. So, there have been cool monster designs, but that's, like, just not enough. You know what I mean? It's such a cash grab, and it's such a cash cow. And they're just finally starting to make a 3D game with Arceus, and it's like, whoop-de-doo, you know? We had cool-looking 3D stuff in PS1 with Digimon, and nobody paid attention, and it had better stories. And now Digimon is just basically copycatting Atlas, which is horrible because Atlas is like the trashiest company in the universe. Who would ever want to copy Atlas? The other stuff is pretty, but that's because money. You know, who cares? Their games are garbage. They're just really bad. Really bad. Really bad. It's bad using its money to tell everyone that it's good. And using money to, you know, pay off artists and have a clean-cut enough look that people think, oh, this is quality, compared to the just trash they've been forced to choose, rather. And, but it isn't good. It's very weird. The whole thing was really weird. Like, just the other day, I was thinking about Persona 3, I think? Where the whole, like, premise of the game is you can change yourself by killing yourself. And it's really bizarre. It's twisted. It's pretty sick. And they just casually show kids basically shooting themselves in the head, teenagers. It's yucky. And really yucky. And then on top of it, it's super homophobic and just not what I want to put my money towards at all. You know what I mean? And like all their games are kind of like that. Super ultra. Just weird. Just weird. Their whole Atlas is weird. So Digimon copying Atlas, Atlas's style, Atlas's look, Atlas's style of telling story is like, ugh, don't do that. Do not want. Not in my Digimon. Give me back Digimon World 3 and Digimon World 2. Digimon World 1. Do want, but not exclusive on, like you said, PS4, PS5. Haven't got money for that. Haven't got time to waste on buying another stupid console that will have like 2 games that are playable on it. So stupid. Everything's gone very silly. Was talking with another TA individual about ideas for Crash 5 if it goes through. Pinstripe, Ripper, Doctor to Brio, and thank you. Engine could be playable characters. Yes, please make Engine playable. Oh my gosh. Ugh. I don't know why they don't just make a Crash 5. Like, it's... Crash Bandicoot was a series that should have never ended because it's so easy to make games for. It has, like, no... no base plot whatsoever. It's just like, here, have fun with mad scientists and marsupials. Don't ask questions. So, but they just gave up on it. It's really weird. Really weird. Like, I don't even get Naughty Dog now. The original team must be gone, because what is this, like, Indiana Jones copycat stuff they've been doing? I don't even get it. I don't even care about it. And then the zombie thing, too. That was, like, just a lame cash grab on the whole zombie trend. And it was a dumb trend anyway. Either Trophy could be playable characters. Less Trophy assist, please. What? Did I miss something in the fandom that I'm glad I missed? People crying because the Cortex Complex isn't a thing. What do you mean? Wait. Back up. It's been a long time since I thought about Crashy B subplots and fan theories. What do you mean the Cortex Complex? The last thing I remember walking away looking at was freaking Neocortex romances with his various nefarious villains, namely Entropy and Engine. Specifically the black alter ego Engine we got from the Radical series, who I still actually do like. I do like that character. He's more like he's more like Peter Lorre in arsenic and old lace. So this is really fun. Male trophy hitting on his female counterparts in the cutscenes of C4. I didn't even notice this. In fact, I don't think I knew there was a female counterpart to Entropy. That's pretty weird. But thanks for that. I didn't actually. I have to look that up now. That makes me sad that they're gonna do more radical kind of dumb stuff on it. What was your opinion on the radical games, by the way? Like, I'm sure I asked you this, but it's been like a gagrillion years since I talked to you about Crashy B. My thoughts in general, like, I like the art direction. I like some of the way some characters changes, like Embryo. Oh my gosh. Embryo in the Radical games is perfect. He's so perfect. I love him. He could be his own character though, because we do need Embryo back. Like, Embryo in the Radical games is a lot less of a victim, and that was kind of the point of his character, was he was victimized by Cortex. Despite being kind of the better genius. So, but yeah, they made him a lot tougher, and they made him this weird H.G. Wells character, and I really, really liked the character a lot, but now I've squished that all together, but I didn't need to squish it together yet, so now I have to take it apart. I really like that character. I did like sort of Shadow Engine, I guess. Cortex Complex was the next idea after Twinsanity. Unfortunately, the studios involved eventually went bankrupt. Funny how all these things go bankrupt. One sec, I gotta turn on my ray gun. Cortex Complex was the next idea after Twinsanity. Unfortunately, the studios involved eventually went bankrupt. I had not even heard about Cortex Complex at all. I didn't know that that company had another game planned. That makes me really sad because I really enjoyed Twinsanity. Like, I have a couple copies of it actually even. I thought it was a really good throwback to the original. And other than some quality glitches, which were not even unplayable at all. Like, I had a problem with the disc where there's a spot in the part where Ripperoo appears, or not Ripperoo, Dingodile. That's, you can like fall through the world in a spot there if your disc has some scratches on it. Some minor wear. So that's weird. And yeah, but I thought that was a terrific game, and I remember the Radical kids hated that game, and it always confused me because I didn't particularly like Radical. I thought it was kind of, it's okay. I like the art. I like how some of the characters changed, but I really to this day feel like they could have just been different characters. Whereas, as opposed to just like reinventing them. Like Tiny Tiger, I like Tiny Tiger in that, but he's not Tiny Tiger. He's just a different character to me. I remember I had a fan theory that Tiny Tiger was actually Cortex's having kidnapped and transformed Coco's tiger, whose name I forget. And no one can tell me otherwise. I still believe that to this day. And it's a much cooler theory, I think, personally, rather than Tiny Tiger suddenly changed species and ceased being a Tasmanian tiger. Con and MMM felt less like Crash. I mean, it was different direction, but it was an awkward one. Yeah, it was. It would have been okay if it was fully its own thing, but it was really shoehorned into the series, and I don't really get why they approved it, other than lack of, like, as in the franchise holder. Why did they let Radical make a game when they had made like a Hulk game and a Simpson games as their whole experience before that? So I think it was really like reaching out for the company, creative compared to what they usually made, but it was not a very good Crash game. Cute, but they took way too many liberties, and I don't think they knew the audience very well. You know what I mean? It felt like just kind of cheap, like Family Guy, and but more childish and less well written kind of humor. Crass, very crass, which is not what Crash Bandicoot has ever been. Tag Team Racing gets love because Von Clutch, but it's a cheesy game. It's fun, but it was CTR CNK standalone. Pretty much. I do like Tag Team Racing because it has a nice kind of like achievement unlocking. It's very gradual, but it's a glitchy mess. It's a terrible game. It's like really badly made. It doesn't even have proper shading in it or proper lighting. It's garbage. It's a complete mess, but it is fun. It is very fun shooting the heck out of things with my good friend Shadow Engine. I really enjoy that, but I, to this day, will never forgive them for not putting in a villain ending after they, like, what is it, the only games where you can actually play through it, the entire racing portion anyway, as the bad guys. And you can win every single race as the bad guys, all the way down, everything, win everything. And there's no special ending for the villains. I think there was a special villain ending for, you know, CNK, CTR. But, of course, you're on another planet, so it's less impactful that the villains win. Which is a bit of a ripoff. But still. Yeah, I played Crash of the Titans on Game Boy, and that was a weird experience. It was a pretty good Game Boy game, actually, strangely. It's one of the last games that actually got to have a Game Boy release, and it was interesting. It worked pretty well on Game Boy, but then I played MOM on PS2, and other than being pretty, and I like the monster kind of ideas, it didn't make any sense in the Crash lore whatsoever. And like you said, it was messy and awkward. So, it's a shame. But I don't think companies even understand why these things fail. It's pretty strange. Like, who is in charge of making media at this point? Or anything for that matter. Like, every night I complain about Willy Wumpa Cheeks wasn't a great antagonist. I saw the Cortex ending from CMK and it was amusing. I think I remember the villain ending, but not very well. It's been a long time since I played that game, but I would definitely play it again. Especially if the remake is on Steam, because I do actually want to like give those an honest try. Like, they made Crash 1 much more playable. You know, it was literal murder, as you probably remember the original. So they made it a lot easier, which is nice. You can kind of grind through the story, but just the animation made it really a gross experience. Which I'm sure lots of people like the animation, but there's no accounting for taste. And yeah, Willy Wumpa Cheeks was the stupidest character. Just so stupid and annoying. And the chicken stew were weird too. You know what I mean? Like, they did not belong in a Crash game. I like them on their own, but they should have been on their own. They did not belong in a Crash Bandicoot game. They were really weird. Very strange. That whole game series, everything Radical made is like a weird fever dream. Just gonna measure this real quick. I think it's still probably a little bit large though. I think I want to make it just really tight. So I'm gonna shorten this down just a bit more. Just a bit more. Makes me want to play them again. It's too bad these companies never release their content on any of their digital platforms. Ever. It just vanishes and they cease to acknowledge it. The game designs were choppy and the ideas are rushed because the games get rushed through development. The creative teams get X number of months to complete a project, then the next project comes. Truth. Yeah, it's really weird. Everything's so productivity based. It's really bizarre. It's like nobody really has a message to say anymore. They're just doing a job. And it's really confusing because there's a lot of people, like individual artists, who just don't have the money to make these things happen, but they have got the vision and they've got the art, but they go around hiring the people with the best looking resumes rather than the brightest ideas, and they wouldn't know a good idea if it held them up at a gas station. Ooh, that got a little gushy. Ooh, that got a little gushy. Move your arms. Oh, it's like spaghetti, squishy spaghetti. Oh. Oh, I should have warmed his body up. I forgot to do that. Forgot that was an essential step. Oof, I'm gonna have to carefully peel this off. Move your arms! I should just pull his arms off, frankly. I think I will. I'm gonna cut them off a little lower down, though, so it's easier to attach. I don't have any wires in there. Huh. Thought I did. Oh, this is so gushy, but this is correct. Okay, that can break away. And, I'm so sorry, Pico. You have no arms. One sec, I gotta mute again. Ouch, that's very warm. The older games probably don't get the wanted playability based on how much dollars it made for the unit sold. Also, the PS1 graphics might look good as good for a PS5 console to process. No, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's like, I don't know. It just seems to me like if they made these things accessible and they charged just a little bit, they could do the same sort of logic as their whole subscription thing. Like, Nintendo Switch is kind of starting to do that, offering consoles, old console emulations, official emulations now, which is cool. But they're not releasing their whole collection, which is what gets me. Like, I can't go on Nintendo Switch and play Swords and Serpents, or Gauntlets, or Nobunaga's Ambition, or Earthbound, or rather Mother, or Earthbound. They have the NES version. I can't play any of the games that are actually really, really good on the thing. I can play Mario, and like Donkey Kong, and Mario 64, and it's really dumb. It's like, why You have an emulator. I mean, I could get an emulator for free and download these games. Why is it that you don't just like throw it up there and trickle in money for just having the price of having uploaded some stuff to your server? It just seems like a misunderstanding of investment on their part to me for a lot of things. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah, and yeah, they definitely want to be like, oh, we only have perfect things around here for our perfect graphics. Look how graphic our graphics are. Which is too bad, because I don't care about graphics, I care about a quality game. And usually bad graphics are a sign of a quality game these days. It's like, yeah, like I started playing Yooka and Laylee. I don't know if you heard that one, but it's like, it's supposed to be like the spiritual descendant for Banjo-Kazooie. And it's okay. It's really pretty. And the story's pretty cute. The characters are cute. Everything's cute. It's okay. But it's the design of the areas are really boring. Like, they really missed the mark with how the game explored and the mood of the game. But it's a nice little game. But yeah, the graphics alone didn't really hold it for me as far as an adventure game goes, because the areas I was adventuring around were pretty unimpressive. Like, graphics are overly graphic to even graphic. I'm being silly. No, it's true though. Like, everything's about pushing the technology when it's like, man, go back to NES technology. I don't even want this. I just want a fun game. Something that I can play with somebody else, for starters. And something that isn't super competitive, for another thing. Like, why do you think the only games I want to play with somebody else is ones where you know what I mean? I fight them to death or something, you know what I mean? Like, once my brother and I were emulating Crash Bandicoot 1, and it's an emulation, so you have to set your keyboard, and rather than be sane and set the keyboard up correctly, he sort of leaned the keyboard over the desk, so I was sitting like on his bed watching him play, but instead he was like, we're gonna play. And so he gave me half of the controls, and he had the other half of the controls. So like, one person had running and one person had jumping, for instance. And it's Crash 1, so it's like the most precise jumps in the universe. And that was a blast. Like, why don't they have fun cooperative games and, you know what I mean? Rather than like games where you explore and have an experience. We can't manage more than one person having an experience, so we're just gonna make one boring experience for a single player, or you can go kill each other in a war game online, I guess. And that's it. That's your choice of games. I need a different tool. And now we will get, you know, I mean, as soon as companies realize that people don't care about graphics, then we'll get more of these remakes. It's like companies need to step back and realize that the people that are giving them money have brains and have voices. It's really strange, you know what I mean? Like, this whole separation of not communicating with employees, not appreciating employee work, not appreciating fans. It's really strange. It's kind of a sick attitude. The first Banjo game looks alright. There seems to be a plot in there besides Witch wanting to be pretty. Banjo 2 actually left an Easter egg on earlier idea that got nuked. I just kind of briefly played them, but I read, like, for some reason I had, or a friend had, the instruction manual, and I studied it to death. And, it has some really cool, world maps. Really cool world maps, and really cool, like, world design ideas. And yes, the characters, like, the plot of the game is pretty silly, but the characters are just, they sell it. The characters are really well written and really just cool. Really funny. The whole thing is just hilarious. And very sharp, sort of 90s, early 2000 humor. And I don't know anything about Banjo 2. And I know there was a Game Boy game because my friend gave me a poster of the Game Boy game. They all had all the new systems when they came out and stuff. So I would just like drool over their Game Boys and stuff. And they would give me inserts. And on the other side of it was some Oddworld game. I think it was Munch's Odyssey because it was the Game Boy. It was a little poster insert, and they gave me the poster for Banjo-Kazooie for some reason. And I remember flipping it over, and they're like, "Oh, don't look at that. That's not what I gave it to you for." And they were really embarrassed for some reason. I don't know why. Because I looked at it, I was like, "Whoa, those are such cool-looking characters." Because it was, I don't remember the character's name. Munch and Abe. There we go. I do remember the characters' names apparently. It's another series that I adore, but I've never really played because it's too hard for Inky. It's too hard. Making a mess out of this guy. His feet are super soft still, but he's kind of coming together, shockingly. I think I'm just gonna kind of do what I'm doing here and just kind of shape him, and then possibly shove clay into the cracks to make him as sort of filled in and flat as possible, so that he will cast really cleanly. And details will be another issue for another day. So I'm not sure what's going to be the best way to make silicone rough, or if I should actually just make a teeny tiny cloth rough. That may actually be easier. And then just attaching it to his person. But first things first is the resin cast. It's gonna be cool to have a figure of Pico this big. That's my character, by the way. Doof. Pico the Piedmon. Oh, by the way, I've been super silent because I've been like working on mental health stuff. So that's why I kind of don't really post on the internet and don't really do anything. And yeah, I've been just kind of streaming privately. Because of like, I'm just not ready to really go put myself out there so much, really. And I'm just kind of building up content and working on this project here. This was kind of my secret, part of my secret project. Personality within a game, being connected to the storyline, some generalist eye candy, those would work out, basically like reading a book. A good game will pull you in like a good book. Invest time. Yes! That's what I'm talking about. Yes! But you know, it's like it's in every media too. Like a lot of new like books, a lot of new movies haven't really grabbed me. And it's not because it's new. I will try new stuff happily. Like a lot of new music does grab me. You know what I mean? New is not bad at all. I'm all for new ideas, new creativity, but it's gotta be good. And a lot of the stuff that's being pushed out into movies and books on the shelves is not good. It's not good. It's very, I don't know what you call it, cash grabby. You know what I mean? It's very topical and not in a clever way. You know? So I respect that a lot of people like some of these things that have come up and gotten super popular recently, but not for me. It's just not for me. It's not the level of depth that I like. But I grew up with 1940s kind of media, so Hitchcock and stuff like that, you know. YouTube be keeping me distracted. Live streams, tutorials, yep, tie-dye t-shirt creating has been feeling me in. I want to do that so bad. I did that once with a pair of socks in little kids school back in the day, and I've never been able to get tie-dye out of my head. I love tie-dye, but I never took the time to do it myself. Really should. One of these days. What are you tie-dyeing? Let me know. Inform me of your crafting efforts. Sorry, just concentrating on some little creases and cracks in here, try and make it look as straight and as consistent and nice as possible. Yeah, if Inky ever gets rich, I'm gonna make some really cool content. So for the meanwhile, I'm just trying to get back into the swing of YouTube's. And today I went public with my stream because it's my character's birthday. So I've been working on this character for an entire year now, so he's 1 year old. So hopefully soon I'll have some actually cool content for him besides doodles, really. And my doodles are on Crest of Scribbles and Instagram, and that's kind of the only thing I am active on. I have a Discord, but I don't really do too much with it other than just kind of hang out and lurk. As for good storytelling in a game, Arkham Origins Arkham Knight to Justice. The DLC option should be the full game instead. No tie-dye, yay. Yet. Need money. I feel you. Oh my gosh, my crafts are kind of killing me, especially with the buying silicone and stuff like that. It's so expensive. No joke with starving artists. Why is it that art supplies are expensive? They should be inexpensive to encourage people to do creative things and not be dependent on some big money house making entertainment for them and providing them with entertainment. It's all very strange. It's all gone pear-shaped, as they say. Well, good luck on the tie-dye adventures when you get there, and definitely send me pics because I need more tie-dye in my life. And I haven't played the Arkham stuff because I'm a chicken and I'm really bad at games that are, realistic. I do not play realistic games, but I think I wanted to watch that one, but I didn't back in the day for whatever reason. Probably just life got in the way. But it looked really cool, and I remember being excited that it had, or one of them had the Penguin in it, I think. Or maybe it didn't have the Penguin, it had Scarecrow, and I really like Scarecrow a lot. And he's a super underrated character, and he's really neat. Neat. I like red-headed mad scientists. I have a weakness. No worries, I dig it with typos. I dig it. My phone hates me too. It always likes to put in really weird stuff that I would never say. And so, I feel ya. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I used to watch games all the time, too. What's your thoughts on FNAF, Five Nights at Freddy's? I always like to ask people. I feel like that's a series people have extreme opinions on. Oh, these poor feeties. I might have to pull these feeties off and redo them all over again. At least this one. This one looks like it's getting a little mangled. Sadly. It's gonna be the same problem as the neck had. Alright, so we're gonna roll some clay and kinda gob it in there a bit. Oh, that's a hand. I don't want to gob a hand. We're just gonna need a real thin bit here. And right about now I will put his neck back on because I'm basically done. Other than just making tweaks, adjustment, fixes. And I want the really thin dot. There we go. Come here, Pico. So after this, the only thing I gotta do now is put his eyes on once I've like perfected the model. But I'm gonna need to hit it with my mineral spirit stuff that isn't mineral spirits. It's called something else. Isopropyl, some sort of alcohol, I think. Scarecrow is a unique character. Scare people with gas that makes them see stuff. He's a creepy dude. Yeah, he is a creepy dude. I really liked Cillian Murphy's take on him in one of those new movies. I didn't watch the movies, but I watched the clips of Scarecrow. And his version could almost be a separate character because it looks nothing like Scarecrow is supposed to be and doesn't really act anything like Scarecrow is supposed to act. But he's a good character on his own. But yeah, like I really like Scarecrow because he's so well, I dig using fear and phobias as your weapons, so your enemies kind of destroy themselves. Like it's a good like adaptation. You know what I mean? Like he's a smart cookie for adapting to his weaknesses. But a bunch of those Batman stuff got really edgy, and I'm just not really into the edgy stuff. Like there's something about him like being a college student and killing a lot of college students or something. I really freaked out like that. And I just don't dig why they even put that in media. Because, like, my idea of Batman should be, like, Batman from the 60s. You know what I mean? Where it's really funny. Like, Crash Bandicoot kind of humor. FNAF is meh. Never played the games. Games that rely on jump scares, non-stop get old. I won't argue that at all. It's very much, I cash in as far as gameplay. Like, the gameplay is not very good. And given it's just one, guy making them, so fair enough for a simple gameplay. But what really gets me is, like the character design and the idea behind it. Because for some reason, when I was a kid, I actually used to have nightmares about the McDonald's crew. Their little animatronic buddies, and those things really scared me. The characters from McDonald's. Like, I would have legit freaked out, consistent nightmares about them, especially Grimace. Grimace just makes my skin crawl to this day. So when FNAF came out, the characters really like looked and kind of had the attitude of the McDonald's characters, and it sucked me in because I was like, this is my exact phobia right here. So I'm ashamed to say I actually follow the series very closely. It's pretty funny. It's pretty like tongue-in-cheek, self-aware sometimes, and it's all right. It's all right. But yeah, it is just basically a garbage jump scare fest. But I can't help it. It's too scary for me. I've watched like every single one. I even have a animatronics character. It's Danger Duck. If you like spooky games, try either Dead Space or Metroid Prime. The thing is, I like to watch spooky games. I like to watch horror movies and spooky stuff, but I'm too much of a chicken to actually play a spooky game. At some point, I might play a spooky game on stream when I have my mental health all together and actually want to be streaming regularly, publicly anyway. But yeah, I do love them. I do love a spooky game. I think the only spooky game I ever played all the way through was 7 Days of Skeptic. Actually, I played that whole series, all of the series of those. So 7 Days of Skeptic, 5 Days of Stranger, and then the rest of them. I played them all, except for the one about Trilby, because it was not my kind of game. But those were all side-scroll click-to-adventures, and I had like a kick on old school 80s click-to-adventures and stuff. I tried to play Lighthouse, but it was too hard. I'm bad at games. But yeah, that's the last spooky game I played, and it was too good not to play, but it was so spook. The most spook. I wonder if people are even talking about it anymore. Maybe I could actually play that sometime and remind people of its glorious existence. The McDonald's crew were alright. Bear in mind that I was an older child. Also, I knew a teacher that desensitized me to clowns. That probably helped. Red Dead Redemption looks like fun. The new Evil Dead game also looks like fun. Grimace is not okay. I object. And the Burger Burglar's a little creepy too. There was also in the 80s like a talking clown head, or not clown head, tracking burger puppet that was really yucky. And
You should be asleep.
okay. Yeah, they were not okay. I object wholeheartedly. They were yucky. But yeah, as you can see, I'm not really bothered by clowns. But I hope to inspire children like your teacher and desensitize them to clowns, because I know like an IRL clown, and it's cool. It's not a joke thing. It's very talented and very brave and very traditional acting and stuff. So Grimace looks like a purple chicken nugget. You are correct. A purple chicken nugget from hell, though. That's my addition. It's supposed to be a milkshake, apparently, and he's just too weird and yucky and moves in all the wrong ways. You know what? I thought Snuffleupagus was really creepy too. I used to have nightmares about Snuffleupagus. We had a Snuffleupagus toy back when I was really little, and we would chuck the thing over the neighbor's fence to, you know, a kid's version of making something disappear forever is to chuck it over the fence in any direction without regard. And so naturally the neighbors would chuck it back over, and it just scared the heck out of me. It was like the thing would not go away, and it would kept coming back, and it was definitely haunted and definitely evil. And I don't like Snuffleupagus to this day. I don't know why. It creeps me out. It just doesn't move right. It's a little yucky. I appreciate really big puppets. Like Sweetums kind of moves similarly, but Sweetums is supposed to be scary, and he's funny. So Sweetums is alright, but Snuffleupagus is just a little too creepy. Hamburglar was, like, I think I've watched some of the stuff since. And he's actually pretty funny from what I remember. Like, he's a fun character, but his design's a little icky. A little icky. In my opinion. A little uncanny. They're all just a little uncanny. And yes, Red Dead Redemption. I'm kind of about anything with cowboys. Cowboys was a big thing, a big theme in Nerdbirds, and I am all for cowboy stuff because it just strikes me as really silly. So, and just really like goofy and fun. You know what I mean? It's the American version of fantasy, and it's very silly and very fun. So I would play Red Dead Redemption, I think. But only if it has invertible controls, because I will not be able to shoot at anything otherwise. And I am down for anything Evil Dead. I might actually really look into getting that game, because I love Evil Dead. That is like my favorite series. I own a CRT TV, like an old square TV, tube TV, with a VHS player built into it, specifically for watching cassette copies of Evil Dead, because that is the correct way to watch that series. It should be strictly mono and as low quality as possible to properly enjoy the depths of horror that is that series, and it's so good. I have Army of Darkness shirt, even. If I was gonna collect junk, I would probably have an Ash Williams, like one of those, you know, statue figures. Because, oh my gosh, I have a character based off of Bruce Campbell, actually, the actor that did Ash. Snuffy was a weird-looking Muppet. Bert and Ernie annoyed me. The Count became a meme. Facts here. Yeah, Bert and Ernie are way overrated. Same with new Cookie Monster. Cookie Monster is beloved because he's so funny in the original stuff, the old stuff. But they all kind of became a little overrated. And yeah, the Count's a meme. A guy that I watched named Hellbent is playing it on his channel, Evil Dead Games. I didn't even realize it was out already. Holy cow. I'm so behind the times. I feel like I just learned about it the other day. Oh well, I will have to think about getting it, or maybe watching Hellbent. Seeing if it'll be a game I could actually play and not be upset I'm so bad at and too afraid of. Okay, I'm gonna put his arms back on, and then I think I'm gonna have to end for the night. It's super late. I'm supposed to be in bed like 3 hours ago for work. But it's my character's birthday, so I stayed up late to finish, or get very close to finishing his model anyway. I still gotta put his coattails on, but this is like manageable at least. The roughs was what I was really afraid of doing, so it's cool to have it pretty much done. And looking pretty good, I gotta say. Not perfect, but I can live with this. I can live with this, and I can work it together. There wasn't anything behind Cookie Monster, but he was cool. Elmo was... Yeah, let's not talk about Elmo. Elmo needs a timeout. Big facts over here. Elmo took over and was not even cool. One sec, I got up. Thanks, fam! I've been working on this thing forever, so it feels really good to get some progress done. And Cookie Monster was cool back in the 80s, because he was really like crazy, really crazy. My mic's been off this whole time, and I had a really deep-hearted conversation with myself, apparently. But anyway, I'm gonna sign off because Inky's very tired, and this character just needs to sit and think about his life choices for a while. So anyway, I was just gonna say I don't know anything about TMNT, and I need to because I'm a filthy casual that knows nothing. So I apologize for my weakness. I'll get right on that. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me today because yes, I'm bad at YouTube. That's why I don't really stream publicly very much. So this has just been a kind of a shot in the dark. So I'm really glad that you just happened to find me today because I've wanted to. You know, like I've known you've been there, but I haven't had like a way to really, in a meaningful way, reach out since leaving DA. You know. So yeah, I'm really glad you caught me because it's really nice catching up and chit-chatting with you, fam. But I have got to go to bed.
Huzzah for YouTube occasionally working. It happens. Sometimes, but not often. Alright, I got to go. Good night, fam. I have to go to bed. So, thank you for tuning in. I'm not sure when I'm gonna do the next little public thing. I can't remember if I said this with the mic on or off, but I'm just kind of playing it by ear for right now. And happy birthday to Pico. So, good night. Should make sure my thing is caught up here. It happens. Sometimes, but not often. Alright, I got to go. Good night, fam. I have to go to bed. So, thank you for tuning in. I'm not sure when I'm gonna do the next little public thing. I can't remember if I said this with the mic on or off, but I'm just kind of playing it by ear for right now. And happy birthday to Pico. So, good night.